Good morning, Nigeria. Yes, you're welcome to a brand new Wednesday.
Yeah.
And you already know that we are here to bring you the best of energy, fun, excitement, styles.
Very contrasting styles, I have to say, today. I didn't get the jeans memo,
Okay, so, I'm not the only one wearing a jean.
Yeah,
wearing a jean.
What is going on?
I didn't get the memo, I'm sorry for you.
I came corporate. I put on my heels and the bodysuit, You're dressed up. I cinched everything in,
So if you haven't noticed, there's something I do every end of the week, every end of the month. I always try to dress it down, so I go very casual, where I bring out my oversized clothes.
So please, email me and CC my assistant next time, please.
Oh, wow.
But hey, good morning, everyone. It is, in fact, can you imagine? It's already the 25th of September. We're saying bye-bye to the last few days of September, getting ready for October to roll in. But before that, we've got loads of excitement packed into today's show. And speaking of excitement, someone has been having an exciting week so far. Winnie, are you winning this week?
I will all the days of my life. But
yes, so amen.
Good morning, guys. It's definitely amazing being here on this show on this beautiful Wednesday. And Titi, you almost never get the memo, to be honest.
What's that supposed to mean? What's that? You and I compliment. At least you tried corporate up. You did corporate up. You did jeans down.
Anyway, you look fabulous. And I think it's good. I mean, everybody's blending. So you're corporate, and it's casual, and I'm actually corporate casual. So it actually still goes.
It's a blend. It's a blend. It's a blend. Speaking of blending things in, there's quite a lot we're going to be doing today.
We have so much. But Wednesdays, as always, I like that calm in the middle of the storm. It's that perfect moment to refresh, reset, and prepare for the final sprint towards the weekend. And as always, we've got everything lined up for you. For the show, on the show today. So my name is Emel Koche.
And I'm Titilayo Onyiso. Now, whether you're commuting, relaxing at home, tuning in from the office, just don't worry. Sit back, relax. We'll guide you through this beautiful Wednesday. It's going to be all about lifestyle and all-around positivity today. You can always watch the show live from anywhere in the world with our mobile app. You can find that on Google Play or iOS.
You can also watch us live on GOTV channel 16 and UHF 49. Remember to use the hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC across all our social media platforms, just as you are dropping in those comments. We want to hear from you guys.
YouTube is streaming live already. Just visit youtube.com and search for TVC Entertainment. You'll see all our lovely faces. Wednesday is all about nutrition.
Yes.
Wow, Dr. JP, Dr. Jesu Pelumi Oreolua Adeniu is back. A visionary leader in clinical practice, nutrition, health management, and health technology. Now, she co-founded Checker, the trailblazing health tech company, revolutionizing access to rapid, high-quality diagnostic services. And it is all about finding the right way to integrate great food into your lifestyle practices. That's what we're talking about today. Only Tomi is going to be performing today. That's Oluwatomi Akintibu. Now, she is a talented musician with a passion for music and entertainment, and she has established herself as the queen of karaoke. She hosts karaoke events for loads of diverse occasions. I guess we'll see her strut her stuff very soon. Now, we'll be having Tolu Afonja as well, a trainer, speaker, integrative life, relationship and marriage coach, and a human resource professional of over 18 years. She cuts across banking, education, all sorts of fields. And it's all about helping people gain clarity when it comes to their mindset and intentional steps to become the best version of themselves. Red flags when it comes to relationships is what we're going to be discussing. Then, of course, Roseanne, a multi-talented actor and producer, is going to be here having a conversation with us. She is an actor, producer, someone who is really interested in quite a lot of things. She's featured in quite a few films, and from 2022, she went to film school at New York Film Academy in LA to actually study acting for screen. So, she's demonstrated all sorts of great abilities. We can't wait to have that conversation. Yeah.
Quite an interesting lineup of activities on the show today for you. So I would like you to stick around with us.
Hello and good morning. It's time for a news update right here on Wake Up Nigeria. My name is Titilayo Oniso. Thank you for joining us. President Bola Tinubu has rejected a bill that seeks to raise the retirement age of civil servants working in the National Assembly. The decision of the president is contained in a letter read by the Senate President Godswill Akpabio on the floor of the upper legislative chamber on Tuesday. President Tinubu commended the lawmakers for their effort in drafting, consideration and passage of the bill. The president did not give specific reasons for turning down the bill, which had generated a lot of controversy. The Senate had in February rejected the bill, but reconsidered and passed it in concurrence with a similar one passed in the House of Representatives. The bill seeks to increase the retirement age to 65 years or 40 years of service, whichever comes first. The existing law prescribes 60 years or 35 years of service for retirement.
Upon thorough examination and careful consideration, I have decided to withhold my assent to the bill. This decision is made in accordance with the powers vested in me by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I wish to express my sincere appreciation for the diligent work of the Senate with regards to the drafting and passage of this bill. However, I trust that this decision will be received with understanding and acceptance.
The Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, PENGASAN, has attributed the hike in petrol and scarcity of the products to the floating of the naira. The senior oil workers made their position known at a press briefing in Lagos. At the briefing, the president of PENGASAN, Festus Osifo, released a communique following the completion of the third edition of the Energy and Labour Summit of the Union. The communique highlighted solutions to various challenges facing the oil sector, which include crude oil theft, the need for amendment of the Petroleum Industry Act, application of artificial intelligence in the oil and gas industry, the need for actualization of the Nigeria Gas Master Plan, among others.
Government was paying fuel subsidy. So if you are paying fuel subsidy, where will how was the governors getting more money? It wasn't from subsidy. It was from devaluation. That is why you see FROIS declaring more naira. That they have made trillions of naira within a little time. That is why you are seeing customs telling us that they are making more money. It is because of devaluation and exchange rate. And where does this money go? Majority of this money goes into the federation account that they are going to share in fact. That is why they have more naira to share. It is not because the proceeds from subsidy. That narrative, almost all the pressmen, whenever I listen to them, I said, no, let's do a little more digging. We shouldn't just take narrative from government and run away with it.
Outside Nigeria, Lebanon's health minister says hospitals are struggling to cope with the number of casualties following days of Israeli strikes. Dr. Firaz Abiad said Monday the deadliest day in Lebanon since the end of the civil war in 1990 was carnage. The health ministry says more than 550 people, including 50 children, have been killed in the Israeli strikes. In a direct address to Lebanese civilians, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says, "Our war is not with you. Our war is with Hezbollah." Earlier, Israel said it had killed a Hezbollah commander in a strike in Beirut. Lebanon says 6 people were killed and 15 were injured. Israel says it aims to remove the threat from Hezbollah and return displaced residents to northern Israel. Hezbollah says it is resisting Israeli aggression and acting in solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza. And that's all we have for news and sports for this hour right here on Wake Up Nigeria. But guess what? There's more. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's time for us to find out what's up and about. And whenever I say that, sometimes some of the things that are what's up and about make you want to either I don't know, exclaim with expletives or wonder what exactly has happened to our culture along the line. I'm thinking about this video we saw online of a young boy in class who just happened to go to school with his cell phone. Now the teacher, obviously, when she notices the phone, she tells him to put it down and, you know, ask him what's going on. And then, of course, proceeds to seize the phone when he started giving her attitude. Oh, well, the boy asked her a very rude question. And then she was like, you know what, leave my class. Takes the phone from him and he grabs her hair. I'm like, in a classroom, and obviously all the students in the room are like, ooh, what? You know, they can't believe it. But then they also proceed to bring out their own cell phones and take a video. So, what are we talking about here? Where have we? My first question is, what would you do if you were the teacher, first of all?
First of all, I can't be the teacher.
You can't.
No, it's the truth. Because first of all, I think there's how will I say it now? I feel there's certain systems and structures that you as an adult, right, when you approach it, even if the employment you're looking for, if they give you a job, you say with, I'm not sure. Do you understand? There's certain things. For instance, now I don't think I'll accept to be a teacher. The guy was literally dangling on the head. So actually how tiny he is, right? And I'm wondering, first of all, why do they have their phones in the class?
Yeah.
Do you understand? Fine, as a kid, as a parent, you want to give your child a phone in case they need to reach out and all of that. But then again, I believe there's a way it can be done that they don't need to have their phones in class at that time, because we all know how distracting that could be, even for adults, how much more for kids. Do you understand? And I don't think it's a situation of even culture or morals or all of that. It's a simple thing of respect, whether it's here locally or international. This video was in Nigeria, of course. Yeah, and all of that. So whether it was locally or internationally and all of that, it's a simple thing of respect. Do you understand? And the whole situation, I totally believe. I'm actually very old school when it comes to a lot of things, right? I was decked a lot when I was younger.
You were decked a lot.
Yes. However, my dad was actually of the school of thought that my dad doesn't believe in like beating kids. Do you understand? He believes, and he said it. His mom never beat him. However, there's nothing she said that he didn't do. So there are different methods to literally groom a child. Yeah. And I will always say, I was having a conversation with my husband as well. We're talking about, the society, what's happening and everything. I always say the first unit is the home. Charity does begin at home. Not just charity, respect, morals that actually are valuable begin at home. As you rightly said, if he's doing that to the teacher, I'm wondering what's happening in his home.
What's happening in his house?
Yeah.
I saw the video and it begs the question, what kind of children are we raising as parents, as guardians, as words, or, in our role as elders, what kind of role are we playing in the lives of the people that are under our care? Because you might be doing your best, to instill the moral values, morals, values, and, build, all what this child needs, to be a better human. And then the vices, the things on social media, at school, that they're exposed to, sort of influences and shape how they grow up, which is, of course, still, dependent on them based on the choices that they make as humans, because first of they're humans, but they're children, and it's our responsibility to look out for them. As much as I appreciate the role of what social media or what's technology, the role of technology and its impact in the life of a child or what it does to them, I feel that in schools, phones should not be allowed.
Sure.
Because that was a class period. So technically, that child shouldn't have been with a phone. So before students or before children get into the school, are they being searched?
In this,
No, but I mean,
this may not
they are.
even be. This
But the
may
way
not
the other
even
kids
be-
brought out their
No,
phones,
the other kids
because the
brought
other
out
kids even had their phones on the table, meaning it was something
that
that
means
was
it was allowed.
in
Yeah.
Which
school.
should not be allowed.
At
Because
that
why? Because it,
level.
for, if,
So
for
look what
I mean,
happened.
imagine we are in the social media age.
yeah.
We are in an age of content creation. Everything, even when somebody is dying, is content. Has become content. That is how demeaning our,
But
even
it did
how
feel-
these things are infringing
The
on
video
our
did feel like
humanity. And
it felt like it was something the kid had seen before. It was something he had seen being done before. It felt like he had seen someone grab a woman's hair before. It could have been a parent, an elder brother, a cousin, even his
Whether
father.
you have seen it
the
or
way
you
he,
haven't seen it.
no, he made it seem like it was okay for him to exert authority over her, not just as a teacher, but as a woman or as a girl. The confidence with which he used to grab that hair was like, it was like that. What are you trying to do, woman? Like that was exactly that energy that he used, the confidence for me. So even if
You don't have to drag. No,
I know,
honestly,
I
don't
just felt
think
very
there's a need
driven
to drag
just
it
say,
to that point. It's a simple situation of respect. And I will say this because I was watching a video also on social media recently, and somebody actually posted her kids and them interacting to a boy and a girl. And the girl was the older one, right? And then she was the older sister, and she was telling her younger brother to keep quiet. And to be very honest, I believe that fine, despite the fact that where we are, respect is necessary. However, I think there are certain things you tell your kids, even within themselves, they shouldn't do to each other. The respect will be there, but you cannot tell your brother to shut up because he is a human being and he deserves the right to express himself. Do you understand? So I feel there are certain things that are remove man and woman, boy and girl, female and male, right? Respect amongst human beings.
That's why I said earlier, like I'm still bringing it back to the home because, yes, the parents have a role to play when it comes to the child's development. The teachers have a role to play. Everyone has a role to play. It takes a village basically to raise a child. It's just that in this time of age, it's no longer the same anymore, right? Because we've seen cases where teachers beat children. And then parents come and then they cuss around.
I actually was going to say that teacher was so patient. She didn't lay a hand on him. She was just holding her hair and trying to lift the boy out of the classroom.
Because she understands the system that she's at. Because first off, she's going to get queried by the school, going to get queried by the parents, going to get queried by the government. So that system has not even...
but in certain situations, it actually will be self-defense. Like the video I was telling you about.
Well, self-defense.
Yes.
Minor.
Someone assaulting you. The video I was telling you about, actually. No, seriously.
So I think it could be an assault case.
It's an assault. It's an assault
case.
It's an assault. So if a minor actually
I think when it comes to
I think
when self-defense comes in is when there are objects or sharp objects or involved. But when it comes to just the hand, I feel that because there is evidence to back up.
So at that point, she's not thinking anybody is recording this.
But she tried. She actually took him out of the room.
Took him out of the room.
Yeah, and she
telling him to go.
I mean, I feel like she handled that situation really well. If it was my child that did that and I heard about it, which will never happen in this life or even in the next one. In your next life, you will see Kini, you will bow and say,
wow.
Anyway, but hey, let's do better as parents at the end of the day because it still comes back to us as parents. How are you raising your child at home? That's a pertinent question we need to ask.
We would love to hear your thoughts on this as well. Let us know what you think. Use our hashtag #WakeUpNigeria on TVC and tag us #WakeUpNigeria TVCE. And of course, we'll be doing what we can to respond to those comments online. All right then, guys, let's take a quick break. We'll be back.
And we are back. Thanks for staying with us. It's time for us to go through the front pages of the newspaper. And I'm not doing this alone, of course. I've got Winfrey here.
Hi.
So let's get right on it. So we'll start off with the Daily Times newspaper. Making the headlines here, we have Nigerian Army dismisses female soldier who accused senior officers of sexual harassment. On the bottom of the paper here, why Justice Binta Nyako withdrew from Nnamdi Kanu's trial. And right here at the bottom of the paper, inflation cripples Nigeria's construction sector as developers struggle to keep projects afloat. And right here at the top of the paper, Edo Pole, 5 returning police officers dead, 11 others injured in auto crash. That's a sad story there. Just right on the right is there. NDLEA nabs ex-convicts with 4.6 billion naira worth of cocaine at MMIA, that's the Muritala Mohammed Airport. And EFCC investigates officers over 15 million naira bribe allegation by cross-dresser Bobrisky. Fresh cholera outbreak kills over 41 in Jigawa. And finally, Tinubu throws out tenure elongation bill for National Assembly offices. That's all on the front page of the Daily Times newspaper. So I'll quickly touch on the Bobrisky story, because that's sort of caused quite...
it's interesting. It's actually on the news.
It's interesting, right? It's,
in
right?
the papers,
It's interesting. It's making the news. But, well, when he was arrested, that made the news as well. So there's been a back and forth. He was not the only person arrested. Very dark black man was also arrested based on a few allegations that very dark black man dropped on the X platform yesterday, and which of course sort of held the EFCC. There were really strong allegations. So there are a few names that were mentioned: the EFCC, the DG controller of the prisons in Lagos and Abuja.
Yeah.
Femi Falana was also, and Files the bad guy as well. So we are hoping that after these investigations, we would find out more.
All right. Okay. I'll take the New Telegraph. And on the New Telegraph here, we have Edo Guber Poll. Secondus accuses APC of plotting one-party state. And the run there we have says, Nigeria's democracy sitting on keg of gunpowder. We are monitoring the situation closely. U.S. ambassador, we have that on page 3 and page 4. CBN to inject additional 4 trillion naira into banks. And on the strip there above the masthead, we have FG should increase stake in Dangote refinery to 45%. We have that on page 7. And below there, we have Nigerians groan, protest exorbitant U.S. visa processing fees, said charges, extortion, Dropbox processes cumbersome. We have that on page 3. Hardship. Tinubu must revisit his reforms urgently. Kalu, we have that on page 2. Obesity in moms doubles risk of autism in babies study. We have that on page 20. Now, I'm actually quite cross on which to actually talk about, the Edo Goba or the U.S. visa processing fee. For the U.S. visa processing fee, I'll just say you guys should just wait till when Trump mistakenly enters the office. If you are talking about complaining about it now, it's literally about to get worse.
Yeah, because he has quite strong immigration policies.
He has no immigration policies. That to build the fence.
That's why I used the word strong, because we
yeah.
just never know what could happen or what could change when he comes in. Maybe after he realizes, the essence or the importance of having, the immigration and how it also helps to increase, the
economy.
Workforce.
Of course, a lot of people believe that, the people that the immigrants actually have a very huge role in making America what it is today.
Exactly.
However, he believes that America is being taken over. And the truth is that the Dropbox process is literally just came in during Biden, because Trump literally shut all of that down. And I remember trying to get a U.S. visa date, like in 2019. And the next available date was 2023.
Even now, it's longer because you have so many people. I remember during the COVID, when the COVID happened, there were loads and loads of, applications that were not catered to at all. And I think a year after, even they were not even attending to any of that till, I think, a year after, COVID, had been, sorted. So, I mean, there's still a lot of people to attend to.
And now, even beyond just the U.S., a lot of other countries are literally tightening in
on their immigration
I'm telling you, their visa processes.
Especially UK.
I'm telling you, UK, U.S., Canada, even SA. So a lot of even normal, like even some African countries are literally put it because they know like what's happening in Nigeria, and they're also really just worried because there's an influx of people. People are literally just, I mean, see Canada that literally used to like think their doors open. Now they're every week, new policy, new policy.
True.
So,
Very true.
I mean, yeah.
Very true.
You guys should stay and build your country. Stop looking for where to go.
Oh, wow. Okay. Let's move on to the Daily Independent. Even though I know a lot of people that will not agree with you. But hey, making the headlines here, Nigerians grappling with realities of soaring living costs, says Akpabio. Wow, coming from him. Says challenges testing every fabric of our society. Tinubu asks Senate to confirm Kekere Ekun as CJN. And that's the Chief Justice of Nigeria. And right here on the corner of the paper here, Nigeria's unemployment rate increased to 5.3% in the first quarter of 2024. And federal government complains, ombudsman says Daily Trust breached media professional standards. Okay, U.S. Chamber of Commerce commits to $320 million to mortgages SMEs in Nigeria. And tourist experts canvass reduction in visa fees, adoption of technology. And Army discharges female soldier who accused officer of sexual harassment. You can find more of that story on page 6 of the Daily Independent. We'll continue to increase rates as inflation rises, says Cardoso. CBN raises MPR to 27.25%, CRR to 50%. States need to curtail excess liquidity, meet forex demand pressures. And finally on the paper here, just right at the bottom of the paper, power struggle main cause of conflicts in Nigeria, Africa, says Jonathan. And I'll just take one or two more stories here, just right at the top of the paper. Drama in court as Justice Nyako withdraws from trial of Nnamdi Kanu. And inadequate funding, manpower impeding our performance, says Army Chief. And that's all on the Daily Independent newspaper. And yeah, so at this juncture, I think that we're done for the papers. Would head over to the kitchen. Should we head? Yeah. And we'll just head over to the kitchen now. Okay, so let's take one more paper.
Yes,
we have the Punch. You want to take the Punch newspaper?
Okay. For the major headlines here, we have subsidy. Federal government may spend 236 billion naira monthly on imported Dangote petrol. We have marketers, others back Dangote on subsidy removal. Maiman lifts over 50 million liters of Dangote petrol. We have that on page 2. At the top left there, we have banditry. Zamfara governor reports defense minister to NSA. We have that on page 20. CBN banks sell $9 billion as Naira weakens to 1,670 per dollar. We have that on page 4. Edo, APC dismisses poll fraud. Police recover stolen beavers, and we have that on page 2. And that's all we'll be taking on the newspaper for this hour. Tizzy is actually standing by in the kitchen with Chef Waliha. What's happening?
Yeah, it's a wonderful Wednesday morning on Wake Up Nigeria with Chef Walia.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Now, whenever Chef Walia pops into the kitchen, you know she's taking us on a journey. We might as well get on a flight right now, first class, to another nation. Where are we going today, Chef Walia? What are we making?
We are making wanke. We are heading to Ghana.
We're heading to Ghana. Wake.
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard about that particular dish. It's very popular in Ghana. They even sing about it. There's a song that, it's a Nigerian song. But they talk about it. But let's talk ingredients now and the process of putting together wake.
Okay. So we are making the wanke. Consists of the rice and beans and the sorghum leaf. That's important. This is the key ingredients in making sorghum leaf.
Sorghum leaf. It looks a little like, the only term I know it as is igbale. It looks like broom, but it's softer than that.
Yes.
So do you boil it with
Yes, we
with
boil
something?
it with our rice and beans.
And it has a flavor, I
Yes,
guess. It has
the
some-
flavor and changes the color.
Oh, interesting. Okay, all right. But the other ingredients I recognize here as
Yes.
well. This is...
So these are meats.
Okay,
Beef, yeah, mixed beef, and then our cow skin. So we are making sauce, like a buka sauce.
Okay.
So these are our spices.
All right.
Then we have our seasoning. We have beef and chicken. So I have a coconut oil. I'm using my coconut oil for the wake, for the rice.
wake,
Yes, for the rice. So these are our salt. These are our seasoning, hot pepper seasoning, and curry masala, and any seasoning you can lay.
Masala spice. Then there's
Yes.
some
Tomato paste.
tomato paste. That's also for the sauce, I believe.
Yeah, for the sauce, yeah.
Okay, then-
So we have our beef stock here.
Okay.
So we have our plantain. This is just our side.
So this is a side. It's not part of wake.
No, it's side. You can use anything to have your wake.
Right. So there's palm oil
yeah.
and vegetable oil
Yeah,
here.
I want to use the two. I'll be using the two to make the sauce.
Okay.
So
All right. So
We
those
have
are
sheet
the
too.
ingredients on the screen at this point. Some beans, rice, sorghum leaves, salt to taste, coconut oil, tomato paste, bell pepper, scotch bonnet, onions, stock, beef, eggs, cow skin, cooking oil, seasoning, and salt again to taste for the sauce. If you would like to make this at home, try and make it at home. Maybe you could rustle up some of these ingredients and find the sorghum leaves. Well, we would love for you to join us and try this out as well. Chef Walia is going to be here with us, but we have a break.
Thank you for staying with us. It's still a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning right here on your favorite breakfast show, Wake Up Nigeria. And right now, it's time for a nutrition conversation. I have with me returning Dr. Jesu Pelumi Oroluwa Adenihun, probably known as Dr. JP. Now, she is a visionary leader in clinical practice, nutrition, health management, and health technology. She co-founded Checker, a trailblazing health technology company, revolutionizing access to rapid and high-quality diagnosis services. Now, she's here today to talk about nutritional needs across the lifespan, right?
Yeah.
Talking about whether and if our diet should change as we get older. Welcome back to Wake Up Nigeria.
Thank you.
It's a
Always
pleasure
happy to
having
be
you here. Yeah. Okay, so I was asking, in this part of the world,
Yeah.
can we really see our diet change? Aside the obvious, okay, of course, from infants, from
Yeah.
birthing, from a child, from a baby, you stop having milk and then you start having solids, and then, do you understand? But does it really change? So let's talk about that first before we get into the break.
All right then. Good morning again. All right. Thank you for having me back. So I would say that the diet changes in terms of the portion and maybe in terms of what the individual needs per time, because it's not done in isolation. So most times when you're considering what kind of meals a person should have, you're considering their personal health risks. You're also looking at what they need for that period of time, like as their activity level increased or has it reduced. So for children, they're in their high level period, like they're very high in energy and all of that.
True.
Compared to someone who is older, who is now beginning to, become more sedentary, or even their metabolism has grown slower. So the kind of meals that they would have, even though it would consider or consist of similar things, but then it now differs in the portion, or it depends on the lifestyle or even the health risk or diseases that they now have. Yeah, so it varies.
It actually varies. Oh,
Yeah.
all right. But I mean, as much as I think the reality is it should vary. But in practicality, it's vary. Do you understand? Because I'm thinking, sometimes a lot of people talk about how sometimes your body craves what it needs. So first of all, before we move forward, is that actually true?
So when you're talking about craving, we're all a product of influence. So sometimes we crave things just because if I tell you to pick up your phone and then you see a food blogger, the person is serving amala and then they're putting lots of, beef and all of that in it. There's something that starts to happen in your tummy, like, especially if you like that particular meal, right? You start to maybe say, I should have this. But that was influenced by what you just saw, not exactly by you saying you have the craving.
True.
So a lot of times cravings are influenced, but it also boils down to you saying, okay, for some people, you may want to identify what the trigger for that, that craving may be. Yeah, so your body would not always crave what it needs in that sense, right?
Okay.
But the body also knows what it needs.
It knows what,
So
yes.
when you start to feed the body what it doesn't need, the body gives you signs, right? So there are people that start to feel heavy after eating certain meals. And that's because they've already probably eaten a very large quantity, a very large portion of what they shouldn't have. And then there are always acute, outcomes or things that have just happened over time, chronically. And that's why we just, like what we're doing now, educating people and letting people know that, okay, so as you progress through life, there are actually things that you should start to consider. So that's why you're working with your family physician, you're working with your nutritionist, and you're saying, okay, where am I now at this point? What are the things that I need to know? And then what are the things that I really need to start consuming for my own lifestyle and this phase of life that I'm in?
Because looking at the social media space as you've actually rightly used, there's a lot of information flying around, right? Some people talk about how, if you feed your body sugars, it continues to crave sugars. But some people talk about how, if you're craving sugar, your body's probably telling you to eat something that probably might be sugary, but maybe something higher in fiber or something in that
So let's look at it like this, right? Truthfully, I already mentioned that the body also knows what it needs. So if you're fatigued, you've gone a whole day or you've gone for an extended period and you've not had anything, your body begins to give you signs. It's that there are symptoms that we call it like in medicine, right? And then some people, you just notice that they start to get really sweaty or they're shaking. Those are signs, right? You need to feed your body at that point in time. But now let's go back to that thing of having sugar and then craving more sugar. So we've talked about different lifespans, or we're talking about different lifespans. If you have a child is just being exposed to particular foods. And I'd also just use this to point out to the importance of women having the right education early on, because they literally shape the first few years of a child's life. Especially, it doesn't even happen when a child is born. It happens from, the pregnancy period, because whatever she eats is also affecting the child at that point in time. So if you give birth to a baby and the baby is only been exposed to, breast milk, the baby doesn't know what sugar is until you introduce sugar to the baby. So up until that point, the baby is fine with their breast milk. And even by the time you start to introduce the complementary foods and say maybe you're giving pap or you're giving their, mashed beans or mashed yam, they're fine with it until you start to show them
there's something else.
Yes, so that's when they now start to, crave more of it. So you have the responsibility of shaping, in some sense, the taste bud of that child and even what they can crave. So it's not to say they shouldn't have things that are sweet, but there are innovative ways around it. So I've had mothers tell me, they tell me that, okay, instead of adding, sugar cubes to the food of their babies, so what they do is they mash bananas. Sometimes they do apples, right? And those are, there are sweet options that you can consider. So.
Okay, amazing. So now let's quickly just talk about the lifespans now, probably different age groups. Are there certain nutritional foods we should be going to at certain stages of our lives? Let's talk about, we've spoken briefly about, I think everybody knows that, okay, if as a child, from a child, probably introduce them to vegetables, fruits, and all of that to grow and all that calcium. Now let's talk about teenage age. Let's talk about early 20s, later 20s, 30s, and all that.
Yeah,
just very
so
briefly.
Just briefly, you have the mom feeding well, and then she has a baby, because some babies have diabetes even right from or they're having high levels of sugar when you give birth to them. And then you have the babies, of course, on the milk. Then they go on to start being introduced to the family meals. And then you now have the younger ones or the teenagers, like you said. So for them at that point in time, because that's the peak level of puberty or the peak level of saying they're high in activity, in physical activity, or requiring lots of energy because of all of the activities that they're involved in. So you want them to have highly nutrient-dense foods or foods that would supply them with numerous amounts of energy, right? So even as they're having their proteins, they're having the fiber foods, or they're having their vegetables, they're also having, carbohydrates in adequate quantity for them to match up with what it is that they're expending. Then you now proceed to adulthood. So now with adulthood, it's becoming trickier because we're getting more sedentary. So initially what we would have seen maybe when we were growing up was, okay, maybe some people will sit down with really large portions, but you really don't need that, except you're about to go on a marathon, right?
I'd like for you to go on, but now I'll actually have to continue here because we have to go. We'll actually continue the last bit of that probably next week. Are you here next week?
No.
It's last week. Oh, wow. Amazing. Anyways, thank you so much for being here with us. We actually have to head over to the kitchen now.
All right.
Titi, what's happening there?
We have
quite a bit happening in the kitchen.
Thank
Chef
you so much.
Walia is creating wake. Well, not creating, but creating a meal for us called wake. And we showed you the ingredients earlier on. But the wake, or rather the sorghum leaf, is apparently supposed to change the color of the rice and the beans. And it's been only about 7, 8 minutes since we put the leaf in, and it's changed the color of the water. I think that's one of the key things about wake. So what were you telling me about the leaf itself?
Take care. Yeah, man.
To be, yeah.
Okay, so right now the rice is already like a deep pink,
Yep.
like a kind of like a zobo color sort of.
Yes.
But the flavor, I guess, is going to be really unique.
Yeah, very unique.
So the rice and the beans are in there right now,
Yep.
cooking. Have you added anything else to it?
Yeah, I added my coconut oil
Coconut
and
oil?
salt.
And salt. Okay, so right now we're going to start working on the pepper sauce. There's palm oil
Yes.
in the deep dish pot there.
Yeah.
What goes in next?
So we had our onions.
Onions, right? Onions going in. Straight into the palm oil there.
Yeah.
All right. Fantastic. Fabulous. And of course, the pepper mix.
Yeah.
In that pepper mix, what do we have in there?
We have our bell pepper, we have our scotch bonnet, a little bit of tomato, like 3 tomatoes.
Okay.
Yeah, we have ginger and onions.
So there was something I wanted to show everyone. Now, this is called shito. And this is actually native to Ghana, I believe. I stand corrected. If I stand to be corrected. If, for instance, you know this sauce, you know that it's pepper that's been fried down, all the way down, and then sort of boil sealed into jars. And yeah, it can last for probably like a year if you keep it well. Yeah. You should check it out. It's really good. Wake being prepared in the kitchen. Chef Walia, we have to take another quick break now, but we trust you. Don't worry, you got our backs. This is gonna be an amazing dish. Let's take that break now, guys. Wake Up Nigeria continues after this.
If you thought the first half was great, then you have absolutely no idea what's about to hit you in the second half.
Especially when you see a smile like that right there in your face. Can you see that smile? Like, seriously, like, this is such a smile. It's an emoji right there on your screen. You can't even miss it. But we have everything covered for you today, this Wednesday. Let's tell them what we have left on the show, shall we?
Yes, my name is Emel Kocher.
And I'm Titilayo Oyinson. Make sure you stream the show live. That's on TVC Entertainment on YouTube or on our website. That's tvcentertainment.tv.
Yes, and of course, remember to use the hashtag #WakeUpNigeria on TVC across all our various social media platforms. Yes, we are on every single one.
Yep.
Right into what we have left.
A few more things for us to talk about today.
On relationship,
Yeah.
we will be talking about red flags
So
during relationships or marriage with Tolu Afonja. She's a trainer. She's an integrative relationship and marriage coach.
Yes, sir.
She's passionate about nurturing individuals and couples to evolve, to thrive as they gain clarity, overcome mindset limitations, discover their options, set and take intentional steps to optimize the best versions of themselves.
Then, of course, we have a performer. Only Tommy is one of those people that if you go for a karaoke event, she might just be leading it. She's going to be performing here later on today. You don't want to miss it.
Finally, Roseanne is a multi-talented actor and producer. She's known for her proficiency in budgeting, scheduling, and overseeing crew and cast members on sets. She is also featured in several films, and in 2022, she went to film school in New York Film Academy. And she'll be joining us to discuss her journey with us later on. So I would like to talk a little bit about sisterhood. Yeah, I'm really proud of communities that are coming together to sort of enforce and encourage
Okay.
sisterhood, communities where, and I mean societies, organizations, just, the little pockets and circles, just trying to, and you sort of encourage that women supporting women, not just, in the workforce, but, in other areas, as parents, as humans for stuff.
Leaders.
As leaders, in different industries. Yesterday, I was inducted as a member to the International Women's Society, right? And this society,
Wow.
oh wow, I am so proud to be a part of, because it has been over a year, right? And
That you've been working with them or applied or?
I've not applied actually. So I was recommended to them by a friend, and she's also a member of the society as well. Hello, Nene. Yes, and that the induction happened yesterday with a host of other women. It was beautiful, and
congratulations!
Thank you
Congratulations.
So much. Thank you.
So now we know where our invitation is coming from, Winfrey. So we're waiting for the.
Invitation?
You say you were invited now. So now
yeah,
you
so I've now recommended
so in the
guys.
spirit of sisterhood, we have to make that connection.
They are actually the oldest because they've been, since 1957.
Oh wow! Seriously?
Yes. So we have. They have you have the Mrs. Fashola. Oh, it has
a long list.
Long list of very influential women in, and I feel like it's also an opportunity to raise young women, to be better, different facets in the industry.
Oh, that's good. Congrats.
Amazing. Winfrey also had a busy day yesterday. Yes.
Easy breakfast.
It is. Please tell us. Please tell us.
Anyways, yesterday we literally had the screening for the Mr. World Nigeria competition coming up, and we actually got to select the gentlemen that were actually participating for the Mr. World competition. It was interesting. We actually got
in there.
Wow.
Was it?
And then any short
so this conversation came up, right? So we talked about how, we're celebrating Miss Quara. Inclusivity.
Yeah, exactly, inclusivity.
And then I actually brought it up, and they were attacking me. I said, I don't understand. So women, we can be inclusive.
But women
so we're talking about
cannot.
six. So Cameron was one of them.
Okay.
So I'm like, so speak about 6 packs.
Okay.
And so we want a typical Nigerian man does not have 6 packs.
Yes.
He has bald head, and he has a big tummy.
Big tummy, yes.
I say we should be inclusive in the men. They say no.
Wow.
I say, so what's good for the goose last is not good for the gander.
Oh.
And I mean, it was
sauce for the goods, that's sauce for the
But the truth is, the reason why I brought it up is
amazing.
because I wanted to hear about the 6 packs. I wasn't really.
Oh my God. So
we toned muscles.
we had like a lot of So there was the bathing suits part.
Okay.
And there was the corporate wear
Oh,
part.
that was
We have
to
to
go now.
We have to go.
That's good now.
Yes, we do. Cool down. Hopefully today's weather will cool us down. Cool down, ladies.
Thanks for staying with us. It's time for our relationship segment, and we have with us on the couch Tolu Afonja. She's a trainer, speaker, integrative life relationship and marriage coach. She's also a human resource professional of over 18 years, cutting across education, banking, consulting, and coaching. She's fondly referred to as the nurturer. Yes. Very passionate about nurturing individuals and couples to evolve to thrive as they gain clarity, overcome mindsets, limitations, and discover their options. And most importantly, be better. This morning, we'll be discussing red flags during relationships, courtships, and marriages. How are you doing this morning?
Thank you.
The nurturer is here to nurture us into being better individuals. So talk to us first of what are red flags?
So red flags are really those signs, behavioral tendencies, warning signs that we see and we need to, be aware of because they can cause toxicity in the relationship. It can cause a lot of mental health issues as well in a relationship. And so it is important that we are aware of these things to be able to make a very good decision, judgment of whether you want to go ahead with the relationship or not.
Now, before we get into the nitty-gritties, that is the intricacies of these red flags, how do we identify, or how can we identify these red flags?
So these red flags, there are a lot. But first, one needs to really be aware of himself and know what it is that I would not take. right? So some of these red flags, I'll just use the acronym red flags itself, right? So rudeness or disrespectful behavior, constantly, your partner is rude. I'm going to use the word partner as the person you're in a relationship with. Is constantly rude, belittling you, putting you down, and is not apologetic about it.
Okay.
Emotional manipulation, that's the E.
Emotional
Yes.
manipulation.
So always using guilt tripping you, for example, and making you feel,
Gaslighting you.
gaslighting, and all. For the D, I would say dishonesty. So dishonesty, hiding information from you, not being very secretive and not being transparent. That's what I would call dishonesty. F will be fear-based decisions. So you feel you're always walking on eggshells. You can't fully express yourself. And so you make decisions based on what you think your partner thinks is right, not what you think should be done, based on your own values and ideologies. I would use the L for lack of accountability, where your partner doesn't take responsibility for his or her actions, and always pushing the blame game on you. The A will be abusive tendencies. All these red flags are really abusive tendencies, physically, verbally, emotionally. And G, gaslighting, where your feelings are not valued, they're dismissed, and making you feel as if you're not, And the S will be selfishness.
Wow.
Selfishness in terms of, every relationship has to be mutually beneficial. But where it's always me, and I don't care about you in any way, then there's a level of selfishness that needs to be addressed.
Wow. Wow.
That's a lot.
I think that is the most brilliant definition of red flags and what it's, it represents and symbolizes. I mean, breaking it down. That's the best way I have, heard it being explained. So now, once you have identified these red flags, now I'm talking about the partner now, identified these red flags in a person, in your partner, what do you do? How do you communicate it to this person where they don't feel like you are calling them out or criticizing them, or, oh, you're trying to be perfect, are you the only perfect person, or now you know better, or now you know past, that sort of thing. How do you communicate it? How do you approach that conversation in a way that doesn't make them feel insulted?
The thing is, there's a way that this person, your partner, seemingly already probably knows that I have this behavioral tendencies.
You think they know?
Sometimes they do. So for those that don't even know, and we're calling it out, how we call it out, like you're asking, is very important. So for you to already have entered a relationship with this person means that there is some form of rapport going on between the two of you, and there's something that you probably love or like about this individual. You know how to sort of rub his or her ego, and so you go with that approach, right? Especially for the individuals, if your partner is very domineering, dominating and all, so you use that approach to be able to have these kind of conversations, not critically trying to pull them down, but helping them to be aware of it in the first place. But you, as the partner observing and receiving on the receiving end, you have to be assertive enough to be able to approach it. Because where you are not assertive, where your self-esteem, you're not secure in yourself, then
it's easy for you to compromise.
Yes, it's easy for you to compromise and try to wish it away, or explain it away, or think it away, that maybe even without your partner telling you your imagination is going wild, you will tell yourself that, oh no, my imagination is going wild, and so you will try to diminish it, that no, this is not a red flag, it is something wrong with me. But that comes from your own experiences, maybe baggage, trauma of the past. So we have on our own to build ourselves up to the point of being assertive and being able to identify them in the first place. Then when we are able to identify them, then we can communicate in a very loving manner, such that you're not pulling the person down, but the person sees it as a way that you're really trying to help me. And because we want to go into this union or whatever it is together, there's a bigger picture, then I have to work on myself to get to that bigger picture.
Now let's talk about the influence or the impact of a third party in this regard, in a situation where you've communicated, you've loved up, you've tried everything, but this person is still, resolute on who they are. Like some people say, "Oh, this is who I am." Don't try to change me. In bringing in a third party to intervene, is that advisable?
Very advisable, right? Because what a third party does is, the third party doesn't tell you that this is, a professional now, if it's the third party is a professional. It's not to outrightly tell you that this is your problem, right? There are tools, interventions that you would just see for yourself that this is me. And then you're able to see, how is this a limitation for me? How is this a limitation for me? And, and by seeing a limitation, you take responsibility of that change. So usually they think that it's their partner trying to change them because they haven't taken ownership of it. But the third party helps you to see yourself as you are, and then you're able to take responsibility, and you take ownership of that change process that you start for yourself.
This has been a very, very insightful conversation. Thank you so much. Red flags, rude, emotional manipulation, dishonesty, fear-based decisions,
lack of accountability, abusive tendencies,
gaslighting and selfishness.
Exactly. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Good student.
Yes. And those are the signs to look out for. Red flags. Thank you so much, Tolu. This has been an interesting month with you, I would say. I would say well done. And on that note, we wrap up the relationship segment.
Okay. This is a conversation we've been looking forward to.
Yes, of course. And we have with us here Roseanne. She is a multi-talented actor and producer known for her proficiency in budgeting, scheduling, and overseeing crew and cast members. She also featured in several films, right?
Yeah.
In 2022, she went to film school in New York Film Academy in Los Angeles to study acting for screen.
Amazing stuff. Now, she's demonstrated the ability to manage all facets of production while still being able to embody different characters at the same time. Plus, she has 4 dimples. 4 dimples.
You counted all
1, 2,
It's just two.
It's just 4. All right. And you always look amazing. It's great
Thank you guys so much. So good to be back.
Yes, of course. So first of all, right, earlier Titi pronounced your name as Roseanne.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is that not Roseanne? So which is it?
Titi's right, Roseanne.
Oh, God.
So MM pronounced it as Rosianne.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So you probably get a lot of different
Yes, different
pronunciations.
pronunciations. Roxanne, Roxanne.
Wow.
It's different.
So it's Roseanne.
No, Roseanne.
Wow, she just heard me now.
Just say Rose is fine.
But now, so you've had quite a bit of a journey since the last time we saw you. When you came to the show last, you were just acting, basically. Doing a lot of great roles, by the way, I have to say. But then New York Film Academy.
Yes.
Gang, gang.
Okay, so I like school.
Okay.
And with technology coming up and then everything happening, a lot of competition, you just have to keep improving yourself. So I decided that, let me try and, see what's out there again. And what better place to do it than the center of Hollywood.
Yes, of course.
So I applied, I got in, and it was a short program, 8 weeks. And I think one of the best things that happened, the thing about film school is you get to meet a lot of people. There's like a channel of family there that, when you finish school, what next for you? So it gave me, I think that's where I began to say, I think there is so much more that I can do outside of being in front of the screen. And my teacher actually encouraged and said, okay, you can actually try and do this. And I got a call to be a line producer for an Mnet series. And
you said while you were still in school.
Yes.
While you were still at NYFA, you got that call.
Yes.
So it felt like, that was like you just snapped your fingers and things just started happening.
Yeah. So before I went to film school, I actually did a cinema film called The Silent Intruder, where I was the EP. I worked alongside with Uche Montana and Vanita and all of those good people. And when I finished that one, I went straight on into film school. And then I think that
I really did not think that it was going to be a career path for me. And it's just one of those things where, like, God just really just passes you through things that you don't plan for. And after that, it's just been more production work from there. I became officially a producer.
A producer?
Yeah.
Okay, so now when you were picking up the producer hat, right? Because I know it's quite a fat hat to pick. When you're picking it up, right? Did you drop your acting hat?
No. However, what I did plan to do for this year was to do more of producing roles. And I said to myself, like, I can do 2 series. That I know that my role is really important to the story, and then that'll be it.
Okay, so you produce in and act in it as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Fabulous.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
There was one you worked on for Showmax, I believe.
Yes.
Which one was that?
It's called Sin.
Okay.
It's on Showmax. I was a line producer on it.
Wow.
Amazing series. I think that was like my first official series. And every filmmaker has this where you sit down and question yourself. Did I really need to do this?
Yeah.
Why did I choose to do this? But it's amazing. We do not want to do anything else. But when you're there, it's like the adrenaline rush.
Okay, so I was going to ask, so that was your first major production role? was
Yes.
that? And you decided to go for episode 26 episodes.
I know.
Because I'm like, okay, I've been on sets of like several movies because I also went to film school as well. And I'm like, why? Why they do this? Why? Production is such a tedious task.
It is.
It is really, really draining. So what was the experience for you, and like, what would you say was the most challenging points?
I think that, so we filmed for 7 weeks, and it was a lot to hire such a large amount of people for crew and manage them. Different personalities. I think that's like the most stressful
Are you
thing.
sure? The money you got, they're dragging you here for this producer. Say, director is telling you the job is on.
Yes. So the thing is, for the money, it's a lot. Because you're literally the HR of the company, so
Everybody knows that.
everybody knows. So you're
Over the
like,
cash.
"Ma, please, we need this. Ma, please, we need this." Sometimes I just try to hide. I'm like, "You guys don't see me, don't see me." But it's a great journey.
So how did you manage? How did you actually, especially the money part now, right? Because of course you always have conflicting views. You have probably sometimes the creative producer, sometimes you have the director, and sometimes if you are not careful, you might have the writer on set. So how do you manage to?
Oh yes, we usually the show I had a triple threat. So the head writer was my showrunner, who was also my main director, and she was amazing. Steph was so sweet. So for me, what I usually do is when I get the budget, you know, I know how I'm going to allocate. Like the first thing I want to do is how to save money. I want to save money. So managing every day through petty cash is, I know this is the amount that I have for the day. And I try not to. So sometimes, especially for series, you have to allocate it. Otherwise, by the end of Saturday or Sunday, you don't have money anymore. And you have to create the substitutes. Oh yes.
Don't have money.
And it was very difficult because you know, when you do a budget and then next week when you send your runner to the market, they tell you, "Ma, the prices is not the same from last week."
Wow.
So everything that we had budget for, we have to pay twice as much. So it's a lot, but that's why you have to surround yourself with coordinators, runners, and people that you know that will give you the accurate amount of things.
All right. So I know that there's a project you're working on right now. It's coming out in December, I believe.
Yeah.
All right. What's that called?
It's called 143.
143.
I love you.
I love you.
Yeah.
Oh, 143.
Yeah, it's a film.
Okay.
Baj and Diana. Diana, who is also the head writer, was also the lead actor in it. It's a love story. I can't wait for you guys to see it. Diana is a UK-based filmmaker, and she's an amazing writer. And when she called me, it was literally as soon as I finished Sin, and she said, "Oh, she's looking for a line producer for this." So it was pretty much amazing to work with people that you know. And for me, it was like reaching out to my colleagues that we usually do things together. However, things are different now because I'm like, "Hey, come work for me." So it gives you like a different perspective in filmmaking. And I'll always encourage people, like, if you think that you like planning and organizing and you're good in that and managing people, give producing a chance. So yeah, 143 is coming.
Wow.
It was amazing. We filmed for 15 days.
Okay.
I had amazing actors. Tina Amba was in it.
I love her.
Yes.
Tina Amba is
Yes, amazing. Daniel, Brutus, a couple of good people that we all worked together and we made something beautiful.
So is it going to be on cinema?
Yes,
On streaming
cinema.
platform?
Cinema first.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so in preparation for Christmas then. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Romance is coming out of Christmas. Okay, then at this point we have to wrap it up. But thank you so much.
Thank
for joining
you,
us.
thank you,
We're
thank you for
taking
having
you
me.
Yeah,
on a trip.
Okay.
We bought you a flight ticket to Ghana,
Oh, yes.
but it's a very short flight. It's just
Very short flight.
Thank you.
Let's go. Let's. Welcome to the Wake Up Nigeria Kitchen. Chef Walia has been hard at work here, creating producing or cooking wake. What word was I going to use to qualify it?
Producing is perfect.
Producing, right? So that is the wake. It's rice and beans with sorghum leaf that's changed the color and I believe the flavor.
Yeah.
And then there's shito sauce as well. Please have it.
Thank you. I've always wanted to try this.
Well, so well presented.
Yeah, it is.
Love the presentation.
The leaf
Okay.
is the...
It's leafy.
Sorghum leaf.
Sorghum.
Sorghum.
What do you think?
Nice. Oh, wait.
Have you had wake before?
No.
No? No? So what does it remind you of though? Anything? No?
Village rice.
Village rice.
Okay. Is it because of the sauce? Or? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
At this point, we have to wrap it up today. It's been a wonderful Wednesday with the women of Wake Up Nigeria.
Well done, Susie. You
Has
did
it
it.
been a
I
Wonder
heard
Women
it.
Wednesday?
Yes,
Oh,
so
yes, it
it
has.
is.
Oh,
yes.
It has. All right.
We'll see you again tomorrow morning, 7 a.m.
Bye.